Death, in many cases, has always been seen as the ultimate end to all things living. But beyond death is legacy. For the Christendom, this particular death was the beginning of life, a life clear of sin and a path to righteousness. It was on a Friday, and it was on a Friday, and it is called Good Friday, the day Jesus died after his crucifixion on the cross of Calvary. It is the Friday before Easter, marking the end of Holy Week in Christendom. Christians usually observe the day with solemnity and mourning, with some fasting and abstaining from some kinds of food and other things. Many churches hold special services such as Stations of the Cross, reflecting on the huge sacrifice Jesus made to save humanity. Yes, Jesus suffered, was crucified on the cross, and on this day he died. Yet Christians globally refer to the day as Good Friday. What makes it good? Nigeria today will focus on the true meaning of the death of Jesus Christ. I am Eucharia Clinton. Welcome to the program. With me is the senior pastor, First Baptist Church, Garki, Abuja, Reverend Tom Takwatori. Good to have you with us.
Good evening, Eucharia, and good evening, Nigeria. Glad to be with you.
Also with us is Very Reverend Dapo Gbadamosi from the Methodist Church, Wuse, Abuja. Nice to have you with us.
Thank you, UK, and good evening, viewers. Nice to be here.
Yes, Good Friday. You know, in different languages, I've heard people call it Holy Friday. Some say Mourning Friday, Silent Friday, Sad Friday. I get it. Somebody died. They are mourning. But then I hear some other people call it Great Friday. And to us here, Good Friday. Then I ask, what is good about somebody dying and more so being killed unjustly?
Well, the death of this person that died, Jesus Christ, meant the beginning of life for as many as believe in him and receive him. Of course, that is the main reason why he came. That's the reason why he was born. He was born to die as a sacrifice. John the Baptist will say, "Behold the Lamb of God that takes away the sins of the world." So on the day he died for the sins of the world, and that's salvation for mankind, and that makes it good. Good Friday.
Okay, he just told us why it's called the Good Friday. Now, what is the significance of this day, Good Friday, to Christians, and of course also some non-Christians too?
All right, thank you, UK. Like he said, it's the climax of 24 hours of passion, from the arrest at the Passover and the treatment, and then if you call it the kangaroo court, and going back and forth between Pilate and the Herod, back and forth, and 2 times he was found innocent. He was to be set free. There was an option of clemency for him, or another criminal, a confessed criminal, a terrorist called Barabbas. But rather, people insisted that he must die. It is strange to see that even the man who was in charge of his case, was Pilate, said, no, this man is innocent. But people insisted that he must die. Now, the significance is, when I tell people what makes Good Friday a very passionate and a very important day, is that less than 12 hours before, Jesus had been praying. It wasn't easy for him. He had a choice. But he said, look, not my will, but looking at what was before him, what he had to achieve, it was more important that he suppresses his own feeling, his pain, to go to the cross. So the importance for me, for Good Friday, is that not allowing your will, but allowing the will or sorry, not allowing your own goodness or what will favor you, but what will ultimately benefit the majority than he as an individual, is a day of great sacrifice.
Pastor Tom, you mentioned sacrifice, he mentioned sacrifice. And I know sacrifice is letting go of what rightfully belongs to you.
Sure. Yes, of course.
And of course, letting other people have it, even when it is rightly yours.
Yeah.
Sometimes for peace to reign.
Yeah.
Now, letting go, how can Christians emulate this virtue? It is a virtue.
It is.
It wasn't easy, like you rightfully said. He prayed for this cup to pass him by.
Yeah.
Yet it is not his will,
but
let the Father's will prevail.
Yeah.
And he had a choice, just like he rightfully said. He had a choice to say, oh, I am no longer doing this. But yet he sacrificed. Now, how can Christians, in the face of injustice, learn this virtue of sacrificing for peace to reign?
How? That's a serious question. Number one, you know that we come into this world selfish. We learn, even as babies, to have your way, you cry.
Yeah.
Sometimes you throw tantrums and all kinds of things and just grow. It's me, myself, and I. And so you become priority. But what Christ taught us is that the good, the general good, the good of humanity was his priority. The good of the suffering, the good of the one who was oppressed, the good of the one who was sick, the good of the one who was demonized was his priority, the good of humanity, salvation of humanity. So for us, how do you handle it, most especially in the face of injustice? Now, please, we must not mistake Jesus' sacrificing for the will of the Father to say he approved of injustice and said, okay, because I want to sacrifice, let injustice reign. When he needed to address injustice, he did, and he did sternly when he needed to. But then there is the good of the generality that is for the betterment of everyone at the end of the day. I would push it down to the family. You are the father of the family, and you think only of yourself. You don't think of the good of your wife, of your children. You're not living for them. And of course, when we get to the society, there is what is called, let me use the word cake now. There's cake for everybody. But one person wants to share the cake into half and allow the others in the nation scramble for the rest. I think that's gross injustice. And so it's not as much for those who are suffering, but for me, who has the right, who has the opportunity to sacrifice. I should let go. I should think of others. So I should think of not being unjust to others. I should think of not denying them of justice. Of course, there are times that part of what it is I will face injustice. And when I face injustice, at such points, there are times I'll allow myself to suffer for the good of others. I'll allow myself to have pain that others might have joy, that others might have peace.
Thank you. Reverend Dakmo, he has touched the type of sacrifice that Christ made, at least drawing a line between them sacrificing, as a will of the Father, and, defining what injustice is. He's, of course, not promoting injustice. No. On the cross, he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Of course, we know that those people were adults. They knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing. And of course, he had the power to say, oh, let fire come from above and, swallow this people for what they are doing to me. They were, inflicting excruciating pain on him. I said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Now, how can we as Christians, as human beings, look in the face of those who offend us and say, I forgive you, even when they mock you and say, what will you do?
All right, so this is tricky, right? Oftentimes, some people offend you, and it's a criminal offense. So there's punishment by the state, by law. All right. So if somebody transgresses against you, sorry, I'm using the word transgress, against you, and it's a criminal offense, like somebody breaks into your house and steals your things, is theft, and a person asks you for forgiveness, there are two parts. Now let me explain what Jesus was talking about, saying, Father, forgive them. Now, like the pastor said, now his death was preordained, right? And there will be actors to bring about his death on the cross. So those people were basically acting out a script that was beyond them. It was from the beginning of time, God had said in the garden that the seed of the woman will bruise the head of the serpent, and the serpent will bruise his heel. Meaning that when Jesus comes to the cross, it will be impassioned, and there will be bruising. And for that to be bruising means that there will be agitation. All right. Now, everything we saw on the cross is leading to what he said is a sacrifice, and that is why he came. So forgiving them for not knowing what they're doing is that they are playing a script of which they have no power over. However, it is slightly different when somebody decides to inflict pain on you, right? The burden of forgiveness is that if you don't release the person, if you don't forgive the person, you also are in bondage. So now releasing the person is that you release the person from the pain, right? The desire for you to see that person get punished, that you release the person from your mind. It is not easy, but it's a decision that you have to take. Like the pastor said, that does not also mean that in the society that people take that as, oh, but you're a Christian, and then I have the right to bring it to your car. I will forgive you, but let the law of the land take its course. But judgment will not come from you. So forgiveness is that you release the person and release judgment for that transgression out of your hands, either to government or to God.
Thank you very much. Now, bringing it down to, us as Nigerians, we are of diverse, we're different in various ways.
Yeah.
Religion, culturally, beliefs,
Yes.
we're different. Okay? And a lot of persons don't really believe in what you believe in.
Yeah.
So they will outrightly tell you, I don't believe in what you're saying.
Yeah.
And some will even kind of snare at you. Some will even, show you they don't believe in you with disdain.
Yeah.
Like, now, something like that. Now, how can you, as a Christian, forge a relationship with these persons in the spirit of Good Friday, the spirit of sacrifice? How can you forge a relationship with this group of persons, for us to foster peace and unity in our country? Pastor Tom.
Okay. Jesus said, you are the light of the world. And he says, let your light so shine before men that they will see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. I don't have control over your decisions. I don't have control over your actions. But I have control over my reaction. And if you choose to be cruel to me, I have a right to choose to respond in love, to respond in forgiveness, to respond in not being the one to judge or punish you, and in releasing you. Now, so on the one hand, I will allow my life speak to you, and you have a right to listen to my life, to listen to the voice of my actions, and you have a right to change if you think that, look, I think this guy is for real, and I think he's living life a better way in whatever. And in a society that is diverse and multi-cultural, religious as ours, the truth is there's no way, even in a family, you can't live in a family and your lifestyles, your values will not clash with each other. Sure. But then also you want to live in such a way that you become helpers of each other, you move together. And in our country, there's been great examples of people who have worked together through the years, worked together, not from the same tribe, not from the same part of the country, no, not even from the same religion. And they've worked together and forged great things together. And I think that these are examples that we should follow and pursue for us to have a great nation. It's not by accident that God placed us as one in this nation, and it's not by accident that God allowed us to be so diverse. And the state I come from, Delta State, for example, you have so many languages in just that one state, within a small geographical location. But then we can live as one. We can help to build together.
Reverend Dapo, yes, talked about living as one, living together. We're talking about people of different religion, people of different cultures. But yes, again, amongst we Christians, we see this diversity. We see even Christians, throwing pebbles at fellow Christians. Some feel they are more spiritual than others. Even you see it among pastors. And right now you're talking about forming kind of a unified force with those that are not of the same religion. Charity, they say, begins at home. Because if among Christians you are not one, how then can you tell somebody else what I'm doing is good, come and join me? Okay, so how can we tolerate each other in the Christendom? How can we tolerate our different doctrines and different forms of worship and still be, one, love each other and unite? Of course, from us, it goes out. So how can we do that?
All right, so I think you already answered the question. One of the greatest things that comes from Good Friday, from the cross, is the victory of love over hate. Right? That all those who arrested him, all those who mocked him, those who jabbed at him, spat in his face, plucked his beard, gave him vinegar when he was thirsty, made him carry his cross, upon the same cross where he would be crucified and died. But yet, I tell people, what kept Jesus on the cross is not those nails. The nails didn't keep him, but it was a greater purpose, and it was just all based on love. You see, as Christians, we will always disagree. Like you said, we're different. Even to the choice of food, perhaps. Siblings might say, I want Indomie, but I want yam. Another person wants rice in the same meal. But because we're a family, we tolerate each other. Right? We have breakfast. Everybody can eat different things for breakfast. But that's one of the attributes of love, is that love accommodates. Love tolerates. Love is kind. Love doesn't keep records of faults. Now, the problem that I see in Christendom is we have now elevated those things that should be insignificant. Right? You want to sing more, I want to pray more. You want to sing hymns, I want to sing contemporary songs. But are those enough differences for us to say we're different? No. But if we can't tolerate ourselves in-house, then how can we say that we'll tolerate those who are outside of the house? Jesus Christ said, he just made one prayer. He said, my prayer is that they are one. That if, he says, look, what is the greatest law? The greatest law is love. Love your God, love yourself, love your neighbor as yourself. If you can do these things, all these partitions we talk about, they will disappear.
Thank you very much. So, Pastor Tom, what if you were to give a message to people out there, Christians and non-Christians alike, what would that message be?
On Good Friday?
On Good Friday.
Yeah. The Lord Jesus Christ will say, greater love has no man than this, than for a man to lay down his life for his friends. And so the question is, how can your life impact others for good? How can you make life sweeter and better? How can you sacrifice? What can you give? Who can you touch? Who can you forgive? Who has hurt you so much that you have vowed never to forgive? This Good Friday, forgive. And for us as a nation, we are at a very crucial point in our national life that we are even at risk of scattering, of problems as a result of election. Excuse me, as to who will lead us. Why should we go about killing each other, destroying each other's properties? Please, Nigeria is greater than all of us, and there's so much. There's so much that we can all harness our resources, our will, our ideas together and build a great nation. Let's do so. Let's help one another. Let it not be it is we versus them, our religion versus their religion, our tribe versus their tribe. No, it's one nation, and we can build together.
Thank you very much, Pastor Tom and Reverend Dakbo. As we prepare today's Good Friday, as we prepare for the Easter, what will be your message to all Nigerians? It doesn't matter the religion right now. So what will be your message to them?
All right, so the three major religions in the world actually acknowledge Jesus Christ, his birth, his death, his ascension. So I will want all Nigerians, irrespective of creed, faith, tribe, to imbibe the qualities, those things that Jesus tried to celebrate. Especially in a time like this. I remember that when Jesus Christ was arrested in the Garden of Gethsemane, one of his disciples, Peter, brought out his sword. And Jesus told him, you don't need that. He who lives by the sword will die by the sword. No matter who you support, no matter how you agitate, violence will never solve the problem. If you go by the way of violence, you also will be consumed by violence. Jesus Christ showed that love is greater than hate. He showed that his ambition is not so important that people will die, lose limbs on his behalf. It teaches us that there is nothing that we have that we should hold on so much to that other people will suffer because I hold on to a belief, or I hold on to something that I think is mine or has been taken away from me. I want to say on this Good Friday, let us think about all those things that are good. Let's think about the things that unite us. Let us downplay the things that separate us and celebrate those things that make us one, children of one God and one Father. Thank
you very much. Well, it's Good Friday, and we pray everything kicks off good for this country from today. We'll end the program with a thank you to our guests for all the insights. Senior Pastor, First Baptist Church, Gariki, Abuja, Pastor Tom Takwatori. Thank you very much for your contribution. And very Reverend Dak Wogbademosi from Methodist Church, Wuse, Abuja. We really appreciate your insights.
Thank you, UK.
We also thank our viewer for always keeping the date with us. Don't forget Nigeria Today air weekdays at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can watch these and other episodes on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24. Once again, thank you for watching. I am your carrier, Clinton. Goodbye.